Hello everyone, this is Retro Dream Beam. I am doing full-time eBay reselling with my fiance. We've been doing it for a couple years now. I just wanted to go through some questions like how we got into it and then other, I guess, fun questions. The first thing is, how did we start reselling? I've been asked this a couple times before, and it was mostly random, but the first thing was my brother at the time was doing it. He had done it for a couple of years, so it kind of inspired me watching him be able to find a second source of income. That was kind of the big thing. My fiance were stuck in a basement, living in a basement, and it was time to find more sources of income to improve our situation. We were just sitting there. I remember playing video games. She was playing the Switch. I was playing on the PC. And out of nowhere, I was just like, hey, do you want to do eBay reselling? She used to thrift back in the time. She has a good eye for this stuff. I thought maybe I could learn on the way. So that was kind of what we did. She was always worried about, oh, how do I start it? She wanted to do it perfect, and I'm just like, oh, you just jump in, and then we will learn as we go. And we've adapted and changed a lot since the first day, which is really interesting to see. We had to amp it up because as more items were selling, we had to buy and have a lot of boxes on reserve. I mean, like shipping boxes. We're technically an everything reseller, so since we don't have a few types of items, you kind of have to have a broad range of boxes. I think we have like 20 to 25 different types of boxes, bags, baggies, and that's for in each of those types of boxes or baggies, we have about anywhere from like a handful to a couple hundred. I have a whole closet back there. You can't really see it of shipping boxes. I still need to organize it. It's pretty well organized right now. I will eventually show that, but you have to think about your shipping supplies. Tape is another thing that you have to have a bunch of. You can start out with just getting a few boxes, a little bit of tape, but yeah, once you start selling a lot of items per day, I don't think we're at like a bragging amounts, but we are at around 8 to 14 items per day, so it does chew through supplies quickly. My fiance is mostly the shipper, and she found out one roll of tape does about 30 to 35 items. It's just kind of like clockwork. It doesn't really matter how big or small the item is. That's how much one roll of tape for us is going to use up. So you can kind of math out how much you need per month if you know how much you're selling per week. So yeah, we usually buy them in bulk. I think like 36 or 42, depending on what she finds on sale. So you have to think about that. You also have to have scales, and I think more than one is the best option. Any kind that can weigh, you can weigh your packages and your items by ounces. So I prefer one for when you're listing, to be able to actually put your item and ideally also the box or package on the scale, and you have to think about adding a couple ounces for wrapping paper, bubble wrap, void fill paper, any of that. You have to get a feel for it. So yeah, having a scale there, like when I list the item, or I take pictures, I list the item on the spot, I put it on my scale next to me, and then I mentally add like, okay, how much is this box or whatever it can add, and you can get a pretty good idea of like a range of what your weight is going to be, and that's really good for when you're shipping, so you don't have things shipped back to you for wrong weight, so you don't get charged extra later on. Yeah, getting things shipped back to you is the worst. It's happened a couple of times. I think we actually got really lucky early on. We were actually guessing on stuff early on. I don't think we had a single item early on returned for weight issues. Very lucky. Um, Also, make sure to get free priority mailboxes if you're using them. We use 1092s, 1095s. I think it's like medium and large poster, or small and medium poster. I can't remember the official names for those. And then there's, I call it the cube. I think it's a 12-inch by 12-inch by 8-inch. It's a cube almost. Make sure that you have those on hand. You also have to have a label printer. I think we use a Rollo. I mean, I know we use a Rollo, but I know there's other types out there. I don't like zebras, but honestly, any of them work. And for all of the supplies and such, I forgot where I heard it, but it basically is 2 equals 1. And what that means is you kind of want to have two of any necessary supplies. Of I actually had this issue come up today, and I was so mad at myself for messing up. So currently, right now, we have one big tape dispenser and one small one. Ideally, we would want two big tape dispensers, but our second one broke and we never replaced it. And guess what happened today? I forgot where I put it. So I just spent about, I think, like 20 minutes finding out that I just randomly put it in one of these boxes behind me. Super frustrating. It could have been lost. We could have already had the packages out the door. So, yeah, it's just a good idea to have two. I think we currently have like 4 or 5 scales. I don't know how it happened. I'm glad that we have 5 scales. So, if there's ever an issue with any of the scales, you have another one. And that's kind of what the 2 equals 1. If you have more than one of any important supply or item, you want more of it. So if one messes up, you're still good with the one. You still have one usable one, if that makes sense. That's very verbose, but it's a nice tip to think about, especially going into it if you don't know what you're doing or you don't know what you need. In general, you don't have to like ramp up super fast. You can take it as a nice little process, which we kind of did. But yeah, also I'm going to transition to, once you've figured out your supplies, have a good spot, you have to be mindful of taxes and fees. No matter how you think of it, do not avoid the taxes. Do not try to avoid the fees. This is how you get banned. It's illegal. I used to sell trading cards, and people on forums would always be like, how do you sell your stuff with avoiding PayPal fees, this fee, that fee? You don't. It's, at least always for me, it's just the cost of doing business. So make sure that you're tracking everything, and or get an accountant. I'm not an accountant. I'm just a regular dude with my fiance. So these aren't like a full-on tips that can be used against me. This is just what I think. Just be mindful of it. Your taxes, your finances, what's coming in, what you're spending on. And then if you're doing this full time, or at least, I don't know if you have to, but we have to kind of penny pinch. You especially with everything going up in price, you have to be mindful of what you're spending money on. Not even just for the eBay side of business, for real life. Every penny dollar counts, honestly. Like, my favorite treat right now is I get an 89 cent like Slurpee from Thornton's. It gets my candy fix. I normally love to eat like M&Ms and Twizzlers, but that stuff's a little expensive right now. It's not worth spending that much money for me, the candy rat. So I found out that the Slurpee is the thing that fits for me, and my fiance's been cooking more, so that it just helps out. Every little penny we reuse, or yeah, I guess I don't know how to say it, but yeah, we reuse supplies or boxes. Anytime I'm at Target, Jewel, Trader Joe's, even Thornton's, even gas stations, if I see an employee unpacking and they have nice brown boxes, I ask them nicely if I can have them. I say, hey, I ship stuff online. Do you mind if can I have those? And mostly it's yes. I just make sure that there's no food, drink, or anything. And I use those boxes either to store inventory, to store items. A lot of the times we use a knife to cut out like cardboard chunks to put to the backs of ephemera, paper, RPG books to make sure it doesn't get bent in shipping. It's very useful. We like to reuse stuff just in general. We don't really like to throw out stuff, which is also another reason why my fiance really loves thrifting and reselling stuff. She likes the history of the items to be preserved, whether it's 6 weeks old or like 100 years old. She loves that things are used again. It's very important to her. It's also, I've come to appreciate it as well, seeing people buy what I would have thought years ago was junk, and I sit there and I read the feedback like, oh, thank you so much. This stuffed animal bear was my childhood memory. Our dog recently ate it. Thank you so much for the good price. That stuff, it's fills your heart with warmth, because you get a lot of bad customers, or not a lot, but when the bad customers hit, you have to remind yourself of the good ones that give you good feedback. And originally in my mind was junk, but now it's not. So yeah, we like to preserve stuff. Baggies from board games. We love board games a lot. We play a bunch of board games. I generally like to store board game components in like plastic organizers, jewelry boxes. I keep all the baggies, and I bag up the stuff that's going to go to the storage unit in the baggies. It protects little toys, little miniatures, and makes sure liquid doesn't get on them. Yeah, so this is part of like the penny pinching. You got to reuse as much as you can. Obviously, I throw out like the uh, dirty, chuzzy, nasty bags and boxes and stuff like that. You don't have to go that deep, just be mindful. I think the really hard part about doing it full time is you definitely have to get lucky. Lucky meaning you have to get some good sources consistently to be able to get a bunch of stuff at a good price. Is so hard. You have to make connections, you have to make friends, allies. You really do have to go out there, and you have to always be thinking about it. Hey, is this a potential person or place I can source from? We've sourced anywhere from garage sales, estate sales, auctions, flea markets, friends, strangers. You can get stuff anywhere. Honestly, but you always have to be looking. You have to be polite to people. You really have to talk to them, and you can't really be thinking about profits first. No, no, no. You have to actually get to know someone, and then the relationship will build from that, and then you'll be able to buy your cheaper stuff, and then you'll be able to make the good profit. The goal is be connecting and having everyone be happy from the sourcing situation. It's hard. It's pretty cutthroat out there, but we found a couple of good sources. We've lost some good sources, not by us being mean or anything, just like the people get tired of doing it, or they just disappear, they move, boom, you lose a source. And when we're doing this full time, you want to find stuff that's consistent. It's really hard. It's hard reselling in general. I have done entrepreneur jobs before, like before eBay. My fiance before this was in an office and did some contracting work. So her perspective of this is it's been super eye opening for her, and it's been really hard. It's also hard for me, but in a different sense. But it's really rewarding. But yeah, I don't know how many people can actually have the luck, endurance, skill set, uh, discipline to actually do eBay full time. You're doing essentially, I don't know, like 10 plus jobs, and you have to do most of them well. It doesn't have to be perfect. We are far from perfect, but you have to make sure that you're shipping, you're doing customer service, you're doing tech work when you build up like your shop on the web page. You have to be mindful of bills, costs, materials. You have to take good pictures, photography. You have to do good listings. You have to think how a customer would be thinking. So you're not just listing it for yourself. You have to think your audience, what are they going to read and see when they look at your pictures, your description. It's rough. It's really hard, even for items where I have in my head really good pictures, really good title, really good description. Oh, return request. Oh, item wasn't as described. It's like, yes, yes, it was. So it's even hard. You can't force someone to even read or consume your listings how you want them to be read or consumed. What else is important for doing eBay full time? That's most of it for now. Um, the things that I think it's rough. It's rough. I don't think that fun should be the focus. definitely can be fun and is a lot of fun making a good amount of money, especially when theoretically you're selling stuff 7 days a week. You're getting paid 2 days that you wouldn't doing a typical job, like an office job or fast food or restaurant or whatever. So for me, that's a benefit, but you have to always be on it to make sure that's always coming. You always have to be listing. It is mind numbingly boring. That's the thing. There are resellers out there who have a lot of fun with it. Unfortunately, for me and for us, it's a boring thing, but it's nice to be able to do this full time. There's a lot of like freedoms with that in particular that overrides the boring thing. Yeah, I just sit there, I list, I list, I list, I list, I list for like sometimes up to 10 hours. Some days I can knock it out in a couple of hours. I try to get 40 items up there, but sometimes when I'm listing like something that's kind of too easy in my head, I'll try to do 50 or 60, but I'm pretty spot on for listing 40 items Monday through Friday. Um, it's something that you can't really take a massive break from, or at least we haven't been able to. You will notice the algorithm and your sales just plummet. And when you're doing it full time, and if you don't have a super big cushion financially, and if you haven't been penny pinching, it's gonna get rough. Those weeks are rough. So yeah, you have to make sure you stay on it. And if you don't, you will notice. At least that's for us. Like there's so many things you could sell on the platform that I don't know everything for all of them. We mostly have fallen into, we still do everything, but we've fallen into collectibles, books often for us, board game pieces and promotional materials, uh, wargaming miniature figures, bits and pieces. We used to sell a bunch of cross stitch stuff. I haven't been able to find it in a while. Neither has my fiance. What else do we sell a bunch of? Posters, kind of posters, maps, board game maps, play mats. Trying to think what else. I don't know. It's hard to say. We're just doing this every day. Just go to the storage unit, grab the stuff that's sold. Oh, that's another thing. Storage is the a huge aspect of this. You have to figure out if you can't afford a big space or if you don't have a big house where you can put stuff in or a basement or like an extra bedroom. This currently is our extra bedroom. This is the listing room. It's not really in the best organized spot right now. It's getting better day by day. It also has all of our board games, so it's kind of a mixed room, which is they clash. We have like a couple hundred board games along with a bunch of boxes of stuff to list. It clashes, but yeah, you have to figure out space. You either get storage or you don't. And if you don't get storage, you gotta make sure that it is not in your living area's face. I originally thought like, oh, that wouldn't be a big idea, but when we have stuff in the main room, like let's say if I'm transferring boxes, both my fiance and I look at it, and it's a mental drain. It's like being in your workspace all the time. So make sure that you have storage, and storage unfortunately costs a lot. We're kind of lucky with ours. It's not the most expensive, but it's still another bill you have to pay every month, and it's not really giving you anything back. So yeah, I would say usually like a week or so of sales just going straight to the people that own the storage unit. It sucks, but the only other option would be to have all that stuff in this room. Not happening because it would have to leak out into our living area. Not a good time. We've like discussed like having it out there, and we were both like, nope, 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 nope. We would save a bunch of money, maybe be able to get a bigger place eventually faster, but no, we are jam packing our storage unit. We have two of them at, I think they're 400 square feet each. I currently have about 13,600 items in them. I think, depending on what we find and list, I can squeeze 25,000. I know it sounds crazy, but we also sell like smaller things, RPG books, like these like skinny things. You could put a bunch in a box like this, like 100 of them. That's boom, one box. We already got all the shelves. We got a lot of the shelves on sale, on clearance. There was even an estate sale where we knew this lady. We went to a lot of our estate sales, and I saw these nasty, well, not nasty, but there's a bunch of shelves. I was like, oh, these are unfortunately the perfect size, height, everything. And I was like, hey, how much for the shelves? I want to buy them all. And I think she sold them to us for like $8 a piece or $10 a piece. But there was a hitch or whatever. I had to go back, get my toolbox, went in there. I brought cleaning materials, paper towels, regular towels. I cleaned them off. I had to take them all apart. We had to put them in our car and drive them to the storage unit and make it. So we put in a lot of elbow grease effort into that. But we got a bunch of shelves. I filled up like half of one of our storage units for what, like, what was it, like 10 of them for like $100 or something. Amazing. Best hard work I had to do for us. But yes, it's stuff like that you have to do. You have to get dirty. You have to get down to nitty and gritty. uh, if you have the extra money, like for a main job you're doing part-time, sure, invest in yourself. It's like you buy the shelf once. As long as you are consistently doing it, it's a good investment. You're investing in yourself. You have a second source of income. For us, it's our main income. uh, the hard work can pay off. I'm trying to think what else is worth talking about for it. So I talked about sourcing, fees and taxes, supplies. Yeah, supplies are really expensive. Boxes are really expensive right now. It's rough out there. You got to buy them in bulk. I think we kind of buy most of ours just on eBay itself. Uh, yeah, I talked about how we started it. I guess like where we're going, we're trying to get more comfortable financially with eBay, and then also we are trying to find more sources. So if anyone out there has a bunch of nerd stuff, send us an email down below. We should put our email down there. Uh, we'll take a look at like miniatures, RPG books, any nerd stuff, board games. We'll take a peek. If you want to support us, take a look at our shop below. We always have offers on. Feel free to send an offer. Please remember to like and subscribe to our channel. We're going to put some work and effort into this as well. And we have proven ourselves to do this full time for a couple years now. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Have a good one.